Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Pure Living Family Podcast. I'm excited to introduce you to two amazing providers that will help educate us on the changing healthcare landscape and help maybe really uncover some questions you might have specifically in the fiber and gut health space. So, just to start us off, maybe I'll start with you, Dr. Brita. Just as a quick intro, hello to you. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Brita holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition, Physiology, Metabolism from UC Berkeley. Impressive. And a Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine degree from, is it Bastyr University? Did I say that correctly?
A steer, yep, you've got it.
Perfect. So you completed a 2-year residency in integrative primary care setting through the Institute for Natural Medicine, followed by a fellowship with the American Board of Naturopathic Gastroenterology. You have a passion for personalized, evidence-based integrative medicine and has been actively involved in research and working with patients affected by SIBO, which a lot of our patients suffer with, complex gastrointestinal conditions for many years. So welcome. Maybe tell us a little bit more from that bio that wasn't included. How did you get, inspired to go that path?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. And I just love this community so much. It's really people coming together over this shared goal of wanting to understand more about their bodies and the root cause of, what causes symptoms. What is our body trying to tell us? And for me, I struggled with a lot of gut issues growing up that really came to a peak when I was in college. And at Berkeley, had the opportunity to really get into a lot of natural medicine through acupuncture, eating healthy, took a meditation course, walking everywhere, and slowly my gut issues went away. And I was like, what the heck happened? And as somebody who's always been really passionate about science and explaining things through, research and data, I was like, it has to be, there has to be an answer. We have to understand more of this root cause medicine. And I think that integrative medicine in that way truly is really scientific.
I love that. And I can hear your passion in your voice already. So I'm excited to dive in a little bit more on that topic alone. And then Dr. Elma Dobrik has a Pharma D. So you're going to have to educate us a little. Let me just give a quick bio,
Yeah.
read through your bio real quick. So Dr. Elma Dobrik holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Biological Science from Arizona State University and a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from Lipscomb University College of Pharmacy. She's been practicing pharmacy for over a decade and has a passion for utilizing an integrative approach with the use of modern medicine and herbs to help patients meet their wellness goals. In addition to her work as a pharmacist, Elma is a certified Pilates practitioner with Live Love Pilates. She continues to teach Pilates at a modern boutique studio located in Solano Beach, California. What can you add to that story?
I've just always been passionate about helping people in general, whether it's helping through exercise, through medicine, just any way that I can integrate it into my practice. And with pharmacy, while I know the medicine, the disease states and everything, I still have such a big passion for more natural medicine and doing things before we get to a point where we need medicine. And then if someone needs it, teach them how to take it safely and provide more information on interactions. And so I like combining the two because I think there's a place for both that comes into the pharmacy and seeing the difference it makes.
Well, that's super interesting. So I'm curious how that kind of played out because pharmacy is kind of more of traditional Western approach. So walk us through that lifestyle choice, how you kind of came to discover that path and how integrative medicine combines with pharmacy because it's such a unique path.
I think there's many ways I can take this because like you said, in pharmacy school, we had maybe a semester of natural medicine. And it wasn't very detailed. So a lot of it has been self-learning. And I think I was the type of patient who got side effects from most medications that I did take. And so I started studying and learning on my own what different, more natural remedies. And then even when I started seeing Brita as a patient, I wanted to go the natural route for treating my SIBO and just seeing how amazing medicine or natural medicine is. And then we do use a lot of things from nature to create now pharmaceutical drugs too. So there's definitely a role there. And it seems for me, it's been less side effects and it's been really beneficial.
That's beautiful. And maybe talk This is for both of you, whoever wants to chime in. So you just mentioned that you were Dr. Brita's patient, and was that during a school in pharmacy school, or like how did you guys meet and how did you get to where you are currently?
Yeah, so it was actually after I was teaching a class at the Pilates studio. At the point, I've had Brita on many of my classes. And it was at one point where I just felt so terrible. I didn't really want to go and be around friends. I didn't want to go out and eat. My digestive issues and bloating are just at such a severe area. And I found out Brita was a naturopathic doctor. And I asked her if she treated patients with SIBO or tested for it and found out that's her specialty. And so then started seeing her and found out how amazing she is, how knowledgeable she is, being treated with herbal antimicrobials. They asked her, should we start our own that are more like clean, easy to follow, have therapeutic dosing, and kind of led us down this road of becoming business partners and friends and for being my doctor.
That's super cool. So, okay, let's jump into Dara. So, you had SIBO. Did SIBO play a part in the production and discovery and development of the product? And talk us through that part.
Yes. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Really, as I'm sure, since you mentioned your community is a population that has dealt a lot with SIBO, which I'm sure, anyone who's been through SIBO, who knows someone who's gone through SIBO, knows how challenging of a condition this can be to face. There's a lot of information out there. It's a condition that has a lot of root causes and loves to come back. And really treatment, disclaimer, this is, not medical advice, but treatment generally has kind of three main options. There is a antibiotic pharmaceutical option. There's something called the elemental diet. And then in a natural medicine perspective, there's herbal antimicrobials, which essentially are like herbal antibiotics. But the cool thing about plants is that they're living. They have immune systems and complex ecosystems and soil that changes with the environment. And they work in we think more of a select towards reducing bad bacteria versus good bacteria. Those are very broad words, but essentially through naturopathic medicine, we have main herbs that we use for each type of SIBO. And we thought, why don't we create one product that had all of those things in it versus having to take, the giant medicine cabinet of like a bag of 20 different supplements. I'm sure you've seen people come in with, how do we simplify that and make it enjoyable and easy?
Yeah, you don't want to be like Brian Johnson taking 100 different supplements per day. Interesting. Okay, so just as a quick summary and as a reminder, so our patient population, our community is parents of kids with special needs. And a lot of times we like to turn the focus back to the parents because if they don't have energy to care for their child, then the child ultimately suffers. Everyone suffers. And so we give permission to parents to turn their focus back on themselves to refuel so they have more to give to those who they care for. And SIBO is interesting because maybe it's just my own observation and I could be wrong, but a lot of times stress can be something that promotes a bacterial overgrowth within our guts. And why don't you just educate people a little bit more on what you said as far as good bacteria and bad bacteria? What does that mean within a healthy gut microbiome?
Absolutely. So most of this discussion around the gut microbiome is focused on where the majority of our bacteria live, which is in our large intestine or our colon, really that last part of the digestive system. When SIBO really started gaining a lot of traction, it stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So we're really supposed to have substantially fewer bacteria in the small intestine.
Mm,
And what happens is when we have overgrowth of bacteria there in abundance where they're not supposed to be, they get access to food particles early on. They metabolize them, they produce gas, and the gas is trapped. Versus in the colon, where we can naturally release the gas, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. In the small intestine, that gas can get trapped. And that's when we get patients who have symptoms of bloating, distension, that kind of feeling like you're 9 months pregnant after you eat anything.
yeah.
Anyone who's been through that knows how awful it is.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting in the last, few years especially, We've learned a lot about the specific bacteria involved. So we used to think SIBO was just good bacteria that crept its way up into the small intestine and was like, hey, I'm here now. I'm here to stay. Give me the food. I'm going to have a party. And now we've realized it's really a subset of bacteria for each type of SIBO, or archaea in the case of methane overgrowth, that causes these symptoms. There's 3 main types. Happy to go into those types if you'd like, but really learning a lot more about the bacteria specifically that are involved.
I love that. My wife actually calls it a food baby when that distinction, and
That's it.
Me too.
I think it might be a Friends reference. I can't remember, but well, this is really cool because one of my questions was what personal experiences as practitioners or as patients sparked your passion for gut-centered wellness. It sounds like really it was lived experience. It was pain, right? Maybe Elma, you want to talk to that? Is that really what drove from your side on the pharmacy side the creation of Dhara and what you do?
Yes, I think it was definitely a passion of both ours and something we both struggled with. And I think while SIBO is not going to cause it's not going to kill you essentially. It does cause a lot of stress through affecting your quality of life. And for me, it was just like that constant distension. It causes a lot of discomfort. So when I'm teaching Pilates or when I'm at work all day and wearing clothing that's constricting, it just doesn't make you feel good. And then you kind of get a little bit more anxious about that. And then it starts to affect quality of your sleep, what you're eating. You start to isolate yourself. So I think there's a whole bunch of different things that come together and it all kind of goes in a negative feedback loop and just continues to all affect each other, and just wanted to get to the root cause and figure out what can be done. And even talking to someone about it who knows about it, it provides a little sense of relief and relieves that anxiety because you realize it's not just you, that there is something more that can help.
Yeah. I love that. And okay, let's go back to the fiber product. What makes it different than any other fiber product out there?
Well, first of all, I think credit where credit's due for this product. And we were so grateful to collaborate with 2 other colleagues of ours, 2 other naturopathic doctors, Dr. Leila Altman and Dr. Brianna Eichmeyer, who had really been working on creating this product, I think, for 3 years before they even came to us. The concept behind gentle prebiotic fiber, and I think we'd add the word polyphenol in there if we could too, but that would be a big mouthful for a product name.
Well, let's just pause there really quick because what I understand, and correct me, is polyphenol is more of like plant foods that help protect the body and provide nutrients to the good bacteria. Is that fair, or go ahead and add?
Nailed it.
Awesome. Okay, so continue back on that. So they were working on Dr. Eichmann and Dr. Altman were creating the gentle prebiotic prior to you were. And
Yeah.
so how did you guys come in and walk us through that story and how you guys differentiated from other products in the marketplace already?
Absolutely. So, Dr. Eichmeyer and Dr. Altman, I would say, work with some of the most complex and sensitive patients, even kind of within our field, and people who have really been through things like mast cell activation syndrome or, sensitivities to different rare food ingredients, and really have to take things that are the cleanest of the clean, the simplest of the simple, and people who are recovering from significant gut imbalances, whether they've been on many rounds of antibiotics, are recovering from something like SIBO. These are the patients that can't just go and take your, full dose of psyllium husk that you buy at the grocery store,
Yeah.
or some of those kind of more complex fibers that have some great data. But in reality, with the patient, like if I were to give Elma inulin, which has amazing data as a prebiotic, if she took a full dose, she would never come back to see me. She would
Yeah.
be 10 months pregnant at that
Yeah.
point. So really, it's bridging that gap between really data-driven ingredients and clinically, what are people not going to react to? So this product has 5 main ingredients that are classified as 2 that are prebiotic fibers, meaning food for good bacteria specifically. And these 2 prebiotics are low fermentable, meaning they're not going to cause a bunch of bloating like inulin. And then 3 polyphenols, just like you said, they're going to scavenge those free radicals, be very anti-inflammatory, and selectively feed good bacteria. So,
Awesome.
and that's what's in it. There's no crazy flavors. The dosing is super transparent based on research, and it's just designed to selectively feed the good guys and help patients who probably couldn't take much of anything else.
That's so cool. And I read that you guys were doing research with Food Marble, which we love them. They're a partner of ours. We've done a little bit of work in education with Dr. Goldberg on our podcast. So maybe talk a little bit more about that clinical research and that partnership with Food Marble, and what discoveries or what learnings you guys have gained together.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, first of all, we love Food Marble. They're amazing. Yeah, saw that they're partnered with you as well. And we've both worked with them from a, practitioner and patient perspective as well, and really gaining insight into what's happening in your body and what gas types might be involved in your fermentation picture. We had the opportunity to do a pilot study with them with our first product, GILI, which is that antimicrobial that we mentioned before, and had patients do essentially a 1 week gathering data period of using the device to get objective data and tracking symptoms in a subjective way. 6 weeks of taking the product, and then 1 week afterwards of kind of seeing what stuck. And we had the opportunity, I guess we'll share the results. So 89% of participants had improvement in at least one symptom, the symptoms of IBS. And we also saw statistically significant improvement in gas levels as well, which was associated with symptoms, which is really great, kind of validating that Food Marble device too,
Yeah.
seeing that there's really a correlation between symptoms and gas level. I do think with research, it's always so important to say this was a small study. It's a pilot study, open label, not randomly, controlled with a placebo. We're hoping to move towards that in the future, but it's something, and something is better than nothing. And we're really, really grateful to have some data for sure.
That's really cool to be on the front edge of clinical research and scientific study. So congratulations to you guys to being part of that movement. And Elma, maybe you want to jump into this if you want to maybe talk about the sourcing. I saw also the packaging was eco-friendly, and so either one of those that you want to jump into, I think that's really cool. Packaging, especially as we're talking about mass production, if we do roll this out nationwide, to have an eco-friendly type of packaging is really cool. So I don't know if you want to talk about sourcing of ingredients or the packaging itself and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we can jump into both or one or the other. I I'll start with the packaging, and that kind of also goes with our name Dhara. So kind of meaning flow, earth, and whatever we take from the earth, we put back in. And so we really wanted everything we do with our product to align with our values. So having the clean ingredients and then having packaging that is sustainable. We have Books boxes, which are we ship some of our or GI Ally bottles in, and those can be reused up to 10 times. Same with our padded fillers. So everything is sustainable and try and keep it as environmentally friendly as we can. What am I missing?
You've got it. We actually just rolled out a new padded mailer for shipping our fiber product that is made from corn, which is so cool. So fully biodegradable. And when we can't use biodegradable, it's always post-consumer recycled material, or at the very least able to be recycled.
That's so cool. I love that very much because I don't think a lot of people, especially when you're talking about products that everyday use, to be able to make sure to take care of Mother Earth is really cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the sourcing of the products itself or anything like that?
Name? Oh, sure. I guess, yeah, that's
I
a
guess
good
just all
example.
of the different.
So our products are manufactured, everything is manufactured here in the US, and every ingredient that we get, we try and purchase from where it's natively grown. We really believe in plant medicine and using the whole herb, which in, integrative medicine, there's this big thought of how different constituents work in synergy together versus just isolating one constituent. It's essentially a pharmaceutical. And so how do we use a whole plant? And we try and source things where they're natively grown, because that's where the plants are going to have this really enriched heirloom soil that hopefully will create a really fabulous product. So one example would be neem leaf that we source from India. Otherwise, every ingredient that we get, it's really important for us to make sure that it's coming from a place that we trust, and we review third-party testing before we use any ingredient and after the product is fully produced.
That's awesome that you guys even have a third party that does the testing, which shows the maturity in your business, which is really cool because a lot of companies, especially when it comes to supplements that's not regulated by anyone, to go through that sort of testing just shows your maturity in the space. So I want to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, okay, so we've talked a lot about gut health and good bacteria, bad bacteria, and let's just give each one of you an opportunity to speak to our community directly. Let's just think of these parents of special needs kids where most of their focus and energy and attention is on their child. So if you had just had a few minutes to have a quick conversation with their parents and educate them really quickly on their own personal health, maybe give some quick tidbits, quick advice of whether that's with your fiber products or overall health overall, what sort of guidance would you give to those parents that are caring for special needs individuals?
Yeah, and like a couple things jumped to mind. I think earlier you had mentioned how they do tend to be a little bit more exhausted because they are caring for someone else constantly. And with even our first product, that's where we try to simplify it because I have a really busy schedule working 3 jobs and running around. And so I wanted everything in one pill where I'm not having think, oh, do I have enough of this supplement? How many times do I take this one versus this one? And so simplifying that daily routine of when to take it. And that's kind of been a theme with all 3 of our products is having like the main ingredients so you don't have to think about what else do I need. And also just being kind to yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, trying to find a routine that works. But if sometimes you aren't taking it regularly or forget to not to be hard on yourself, just jump back on it. Just be gentle because the more stress you have, the more it's going to affect your gut and then trigger more symptoms.
I think really kind of echoing that sentiment, I think there's so much information out there right now about gut health. And we right now are in a time of extremes. Even, this concept of good bacteria and bad bacteria, we're starting to think a lot more that it doesn't we put a lot of weight on who's there, and now we're starting to think that what matters even more is what are the bugs doing. And I think that in a sense is a little bit liberating because we don't have to focus so much on like, okay, I need to reduce this guy and grow this guy and do this thing and eat this thing and do all this all of the time. It's what are you doing the majority of the time? Are you, nourishing your body in ways that are tangible for you in your day-to-day life? And, I really like the concept of the 80-20 rule, controlling what you can and letting go of the things that you can't.
I love that. It's really great advice. And this has been beautiful. Thank you for really helping to educate the community. We just have a couple more minutes left. I don't know if there's anything else that you feel like you would want to add to the story of Dara and what advice you'd give to the community as a whole. We just are really grateful for you to join the podcast.
We're so grateful that you chose to have us on. And
Thank you.
like Brita mentioned at the beginning, it's amazing what you're doing for the community and being able to help others and educate and make it fun.
I think fun is a really good point. And I think one way that we like to embody that is we just like to make things pretty sometimes too. And that's okay. Not everything has to just be science. Sometimes having like a nice, pretty element to your day that brings joy. Find those things every day that bring joy and celebrate them. I think it's really important.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining the podcast, and we'll link the product in our show notes so folks can find you and find you on social media and learn more about what you guys are doing because your product does look pretty amazing, and we're very grateful to be able to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do.